to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Welcome back, Bill. How many times is this? Are we at 20 yet?
No, I don't think we're that high. I think we're like number 11.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
The most guests, the biggest guests on Everything Sparkle.
Yeah, well, like a bad penny keeps showing up. You can't get rid of me.
Well, the good thing is there's always stuff to talk about.
Yes.
Like today, what is happening? What's coming up?
Well, we've got less than 2 weeks away. We've got the car show for Kessler Museum, spring car show.
Okay, so what's the date on that?
It's going to be the 25th of this month, April. And I think the cars can come in starting at 7.
So is it going to be at Castle and not?
It's going to be on the museum
because last time
grounds.
it was like behind. It was there, but yeah.
Right. So the spring open car show, or the spring car show, is always at the museum.
Okay.
On the museum grounds.
And I love it because we get to see both cars and planes. That was my favorite day, actually, because I like that.
Correct. The one we have in the fall, in October, is out on the old flight line on Castle.
And why? What's the difference? Can you?
Because the one that is in October, the city puts on, or the airport actually puts it on.
Okay.
All right. And so what we do, we run the car show portion of it, and then we get the proceeds from all the cars that come in.
Okay.
So in other words, the event per se gets to have a car show ran by the museum, and the museum benefits from that.
And we always want to do that because people don't understand it's privately funded.
Correct. Yeah, we're a 501c3. Museum. We get no funding from the federal government or the state, and so we get all of our money from private donations, events, things.
So that's why we want to go and support this in the Valley.
Yes.
That's why we have to go and support that.
Right, correct. And then just a month after that, we got open cockpit on Labor Day weekend, or Memorial Day weekend, on Saturday. So that'll be on the 23rd of May. So
yes, and that'll be
two
fun.
back-to-backs.
So you guys got to come hang out with me at that. There's just so many things going on. I love it.
Yes.
The weather's getting better, so.
The weather's getting better, and people are going to start to come out, and they already have. The attendance of the museum has started to pick up since. Now, we had some rain here this last week, but normally,
which is good because it makes the dust settle. That's not a bad thing.
It does that, and it also keeps the temperatures down.
Right.
When you get above 95, that's kind of the breaking point where people will say, I'm going to come in the morning, or I'm not going to come at all.
Right. And then is there going to be the balloon show? We don't know yet about the balloons and the helicopter for
Amberzini told us that he will be at Open Cockpit Day.
So that means there's going to be helicopters?
In the spring, yeah. I don't know what he's going to charge. I think it's $150.
It's a great experience, like a one-time thing. So just come with some extra money for and we don't know about the balloons?
I don't know about the balloons. I know
that's on my to-do list. One thing I haven't done yet.
I know that Jared is working on that.
We don't never let it ever know because of the weather, because they could change that day and say the wind's not, and we don't want to chance that.
If it's windy, then they'll call it off.
Yeah, so just keep in touch. We'll just keep on, checking in.
Now, it's not a free, it's a tethered balloon ride. So I think they go up 200 feet and then they come down.
That's probably better for those of us who haven't done it before. We won't get.
Yeah, it is, but it's an experience.
Scary. Yeah, no, I'm down.
It's an experience to do, and it's something different. Walk away with a story, kind of a thing. Yeah. And then we get kind of a break all the way till the Open Cockpit Day in September, in Labor Day. So we basically have
the very hot months, there's not a lot happening, which we're probably thankful for. So we really want to come in when the weather's good and have a good time.
Mm-hmm. And then we've had it fairly warm, though, on Labor Day weekend. But at the same time, we've seen, like last year, it was 85, and we had one of the biggest turnouts for fall
that was busy
that we ever did.
That was busy.
It works to your advantage on weather. of course. But yeah, so we're real excited about that. And then the golf tournament is going to be on September 19th. And then the last one that we have is going to be the car show, of course, out on the old flight line there on Castle Air Base. On the 17th of October.
I hope I can make out for the golf tournament. That's the one thing I haven't caught on yet that I would like to see.
Yeah, you haven't been out there for that one. And you have to come out and see how it all works and everything. But the guys do a really good job. They're in the planning stages of it now. We have the date set. And nice thing about it this year is that you can register for all this on our website. Yeah.
Wow, we got updated. I love that. And then, but I could go even though I don't play golf. How does that work?
Well, the golf tournament is kind of odd because I've only been to one of them.
Okay.
And they all start at one time, and they all get in their carts, and they'd have a shotgun start, and they go out the round.
So can I go as a spectator, or I have to be involved?
Sure. No. You're basically part of the museum.
Because I don't know how to. Well, but it's for the public. You kind of just go if you're really going to play golf. You don't really get to go and just.
Yeah, but you can go in and observe. Sure. Yeah.
So the public can kind of.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we prefer that they register and play, but if they just want to come out and
not
see,
for me. I don't think anybody wants me on their team. I would
probably not, but it's okay. But if you just want to come out and observe and see what it's all about, yeah, you're more than welcome.
Okay, so the open cockpit, is this the one where we're going to get the beer garden?
Yes, the beer garden, from what I understand, is a go. We talked about that at the last board meeting, and it looks like that was going to take place. So we had to set up a security perimeter, and with that, but that's okay. I mean, it is what it is.
That's so exciting. This is like the first time that's ever happened.
Well, we used to have something called Corks and Kegs. And
that was at nighttime.
And I think you came.
I went to that.
To one.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That was at nighttime. I think the daytime, having this is great because you have the music, you have everything there. You just kind of want
It's just the participation of it just wasn't there enough to put it on.
Because
you only make like $1,800. It's not worth doing $10,000 worth of work, to do it. So we had to kind of revamp that a little bit. And so we decided to take the beer garden and put it into Open Cockpit Day.
Right.
So that works out pretty good, right?
Yeah, because when you go out the music, do you know any of the bands that are playing at the Open Cockpit Day?
I don't know any of the bands that are going to be playing at Open Cockpit Day.
But it's been really good. I've been really impressed with the bands that have been played lately. It's a lot of local bands that are good.
Yes, exactly. They're local bands, and they come, and some of them I think do it for nothing. That's
really nice.
And then some of them just do it. Say, hey, can I just get like a flat fee?
Well, and that's why it's really fun to go for the party. So that's all Open Cockpit. So what's at the Cars and the one that's coming up April 25th? Mm-hmm. Do we have bands and alcohol there or not for that one?
I don't believe so.
Not yet, but we just have. That was so much fun to see the cars and the planes. I really enjoyed that.
Well, the main emphasis for the Cars show is the cars.
Right.
It's not really the airplanes. The airplanes are just a backdrop.
They're there. You're going to enjoy both.
We open up. The Viper will be open, and the KC-135 I think we're going to open up. So it's kind of a prelude to Open Cockpit. If you like what you see here, come in 4 weeks and you're going to see more of it.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's so we kind of push that a little bit, and then there at the F-16 we'll have flyers for Open Cockpit Day, and so people, but we open up the airplane, people can come in, take a look, see what it looks like inside, and they get excited about it, and then they come back, in a month, and they'll come to Open Cockpit Day.
Yeah, because there's so much to take pictures of during the car show. It's you get two different experiences when you go just to look at the planes versus the cars, but it's so great to have both.
Well, the funny thing about it is I'm kind of anxious to see what happens, because this will be the first year we're going to have the Playboy Black Bunny Phantom out on the grounds, because it wasn't out on the grounds for the last car show. So we'll see how many cars want to have their park in front of it, so they get their their picture taken, with it. So, so that's kind of being an amusing thing. Carl and I were talking about that the other night on the phone. Because normally, as you well know, the car show, once they start to fill in, once they get to the Blue Angel and our airplane, it kind of seems to peter out a little bit. They don't really go really farther than that.
Right.
So we'll see if the Bunny Phantom will attract, more guys, towards that back part of the museum.
And it was great, like all the owners of the cars and everything, because they were really great about letting you take photos with the cars and everything. And you don't get that at every car show. I feel like there is something a little bit different about the Castle and Museum car show.
What's really neat about our venue is that, one, it's on grass, two, it's spread out. So you don't really feel constricted. You know what I'm saying? And instead of buildings in the background, you have airplanes.
Yeah.
So you have two different things to kind of look at. And I think the vibe is a little bit different at our show than most.
For sure.
Been to a lot of car shows, but I think ours is a little bit more relaxed.
And a lot of them are very sandwiched. So when you're taking a picture, you're getting all the other cars where it's like now you can focus on, like you said, the car with a plane in the background. There's not like 50 other cars in a row, so you get some really great pictures. You guys got to come with like.
Yeah, I always tell people, if you're going to bring your car, come early and stage it next to the airplane that you want, and that way you get that spot. But I think we had a '56 Chevy a couple years ago. This was before we got the Blue Angel airplane, and he says, I want it right next to the F-16 because it was wide open, because it was just nothing but grass there at the time. And he said he came extra early just so he could get that spot, so he could get his car picture taken, in front of the airplane. So that was kind of
When do
nice.
you ever get the opportunity to do that? That's why I love that Castle puts this on. You know what I mean? How many people have these cars ever think, oh, well, I'm going to get to put it like by an appropriate plane for the car? I mean, that's such a great thing.
You know what? Believe it or not, it's catching on. I've seen other museums do it in different parts of the country. So I'm not going to say that we started that, but
we did.
But I'm saying that we help promote it more than other museums do. So,
but you're still, I mean, of all the car shows, I'm saying you're still like a select few that are even going to, you don't get those opportunities every day, even if there's other ones. So I think that's so awesome. And how are we going with the pavilion? I always got to ask that one.
Oh, yeah, the pavilion. We're moving right along. The last stages of the permitting process is at the city of Atwater right now. And so
they're working with you.
Yes.
They're very excited about this, I imagine.
Yes, they are. It's just that it's kind of like going to the moon. There's 1,000 things that have to happen before you get there. And we're on 998. There's so many different hurdles and paperwork and questions to answer. And you're not dealing with just one entity. You're dealing with Spam Construction, who's doing the actual, building of it. You're dealing with, the city. You're dealing with someone with the county. You're dealing with, a lot of different entities. And I didn't realize how much work went, involved in it until I talked to Jeff Stopper, who's actually ramrodding the project for us.
Okay.
And he said every day he has something that comes up that he's got to answer. And we've been at this now, was it 2 years, 3 years now? So it just goes to show you how much work and effort goes into just putting something up. You just don't do it overnight.
I'm still surprised that this is going as swiftly as it is. I know it seems like it's been taking a long time, but I know how these projects can take forever. So I do think it seems like it's kind of on track.
It is. It is on track, and we've had some really, really good donors, and we need some more really, really good donors.
Don't forget about that, guys.
Yes.
This is great.
So we're right about 4 million shy. So we're right about halfway. But the first phase is going to start, and we should hopefully move dirt after Open Cockpit Day. The problem is that now we're going into event season, so we can't have the parking lot all torn up.
Yeah, that's always dicey when you're trying to really be operational and have construction at the same time.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's meant to be a nightmare. So I'm thinking that if we do it after open cockpit, then we have 3 months of basically no events. But we have a construction zone at that particular point in time too. So we're going to have to route guests, through the back way, and we're working on those scenarios now. How to bring visitors into the museum. How are we going to do the car show? With the construction zone. Well, we just have to have everything in the back part of the museum, so like from the B-52 out where we're at, and just have those events out there and while they're building, So there's a lot of things that go into it, and just moving the airplanes is a checkered game. You're moving things, from one end to the other and leaping over this and moving that. And so, yeah, it's a logistic nightmare. It would make UPS cringe,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it really would. But we got a really, really good team, and we're working with the city, and the city's really helping us out. So if the plan goes accordingly, we really shouldn't have to break any fences to move airplanes. Maybe one or two, but that would be about it. So we're going to be able to load, right now, the VC-9, the SR-71 from the south end. Once they get the main structure up, we'll load those airplanes, the Viper and the Blue Angel, in behind the VC-9 like we had planned. And then they'll build the pavilion behind it.
Okay.
And then the rest of the airplanes will come in from the north.
And how's it going with the YouTube channel?
The YouTube channel was a diamond in the rough, but now it's just a polished diamond.
But everyone needs to subscribe.
Yes, you need to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's going well. We're making money now. It's been a great team effort. You've been hosting it, and it's been awesome. Drew, with his superior photography skills, and been doing all the editing and everything. And we haven't had a video under 4,000 hits in a month. So it's really taken off. And I kind of believe that the Inside series that we've been doing, because people want to see what they look like inside.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
And you got to keep in mind, too, is that there's only, and Drew can tell you a lot more about the demographics than what I can, but there's only about 60% or 40% of the people who watch the YouTube program live here. Everybody else is abroad. So they'll most likely never come here. Yeah.
That.
So, and then out of the 40%, 90% of the 40% live here in California. So majority of them people would come. So we feel okay to go ahead and film the inside of the airplanes for the people who live abroad that probably will never see the museum. But that that inside series that we've been doing has really, really taken off. The one with the B-52 with UNL Osborne, minimum 8,000 hits.
Well, because you have such a great team and everybody just has so much information, it's awesome. It's really awesome to just learn all the stuff that.
What's really kind of strange is if you read the comments, sometimes you'll get guys that'll say, well, you need to get people who worked on these airplanes, or flew these airplanes. A lot of those people are either dead in a rest home, and approaching death, or just not available. Because a lot of these airplanes that we have, the vast majority of them, were built before I was born.
Right. You got to take that in consideration. Yeah.
Yeah. So the flight crews and the maintenance guys, they're all timing out and trying to find some of those guys.
I think Castle's done a great job on that. I mean,
we have, but we've seen over the years where the vast majority of our volunteers were military aircraft maintenance guys, like myself. But then as they get older and they time out or they move away or they pass, we get non-military guys that have never worked on an airplane before, but still want to volunteer and maintain a piece of military history, which is good. But they don't have the same background that the guys had previously, So.
Well, everybody's been giving great information. You learn
Yeah.
something new every day with these, and it's really cool because it's like a short amount of time. Nobody wants to sit around for hours and watch, so it's like really
Right.
good that you can get a little bit of like, a little history lesson every week on a cool plane. So.
Oh yeah, you can. So I think the next series we're going to do, the fighters. We're going to open up the fighters and have General Garrison sit in the cockpit and do an interview with you. We'll do the Blue Angel, we'll do the Viper, we'll do the F-15, the Tomcat, the Playboy Bunny Phantom. We'll do some of those because a lot of people still want to see what those look like inside too.
Right.
It's just that there's just one seat.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder. We do what we can.
Yes, exactly. But that's okay. I mean, it is what it is.
Aren't you proud of everything that's happened in the past few years? I mean, I met you in 2020 when I first came, and just seeing all that's going on with Castle, I mean, it's really impressive.
We've grown leaps and bounds, not only with bringing in airplanes, but technology-wise. I mean, our Facebook. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on all basic.
Everybody follow.
Right.
It's all free to follow.
But the website alone has grown to where now we have an online store.
Oh, that's so awesome. Okay.
It's where you can buy things online.
Thank goodness. I'm going to direct people to that.
Through the gift shop. We didn't have that before. You can buy tickets for Open Cockpit Day online. We didn't have that before. And General Garrison, he's really gone in and pushed the technology side because he sees that this is where it's going. And if we keep trying to run the museum like it's 1994, we're never going to go anywhere.
Right.
So that's been a big push of his. And the other thing is the board members have changed. We have a lot of guys, business-oriented guys. We have investors, professional investors. We've got guys that like Jeff Stopper who puts up buildings.
Really impressive.
So when you have that kind of people, on the board, things get done that didn't get done, previously because the expertise just wasn't there. It wasn't anybody's fault. It's just the expertise just wasn't there.
Well, now there's a great team in place.
Yeah, there is. Well, and so I'm real happy with it, but we'll see, I really can't wait for the pavilion to get built and get the F-16 inside and, and trade in the hoses for, a dust mop or something,
But right now it is fun to watch the journey. And thank you so much for coming today and sharing that with us.
Not a problem. It's always a pleasure to come here. It's well,
no, we'll see you before the end of the year.
Yeah, we'll see you at the car show, and I know we got a lot more YouTube to shoot, and so we're very happy to have you on the team, and you've been doing a great job for us, and so
well, thank you so much, and thanks for coming today.
Yep, you better believe it.
You're back, Marshall.
I am back. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
Well, it's always good this time of year because Armenian genocide, and you're the man that knows so much and gives us, even though we think we know everything, you always manage to give me a history lesson I didn't know.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. It's been an interesting year, not so much the genocide itself, but what's been happening at the beginning of this year with the Cesar Chavez street renaming. That ties in with Armenian history, as you probably know. I went to City Council a couple weeks ago when they had this issue on the ballot and on the docket, and I spoke. And a woman spoke ahead of me. She was advocating for California Avenue. And she said something. She compared what happened the first time this issue came up in the 1990s to today. And she said, it didn't make sense then, and it doesn't make sense now. And I took that and used that opportunity, that phrase, that idea, to bring the Armenian perspective into why it doesn't make sense then or now. As you know, when the Armenians came to America, they came to Fresno. They arrived surviving massacre, surviving genocide. They came to Fresno to set up their new homes, their new lives, establish their churches and families. And a lot happened on those streets on Ventura and Kings Canyon. They're not just names of streets, they're connections to buildings and events and people. You look at Holy Trinity Armenian Church, the crown jewel of downtown Fresno architecture. Next to that was the Ospadez Club, where William Soroyan hung out. You go farther out on Ventura and Kings Canyon. When the Armenians were leaving Armeniantown in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, they built their houses along Ventura and Kings Canyon. Those houses still exist there. Very lovely houses. And then all the way out to the Armenian Old Age Home on the end of Kings Canyon. So the history there is very strong to the Armenians. When you hear those words, Ventura and Kings Canyon, you don't necessarily think of the ocean or the national park. You tend to think of the connection it has to your Fresno Armenian history. And so for someone like Miguel Arias to come along and wave his magic wand and just decree that the black community in Fresno, the Armenian community in Fresno, their history, their culture doesn't matter. But conversely, his history does matter. That's just abhorrent. It flies in the face of all the things, all the democratic principles that value in this country about having open discussions on things versus, for example, having someone, there's the talk about no kings, right? That's the big rally point that we see. The people are protesting no kings. Well, Miguel Arias did something very regal, not in the good sense of regal, but in the sense of a king. Just with a swipe of a hand decided this history doesn't matter. And it's not so much, you have to understand that Armenian genocide is not so much killing these people, but taking their stuff, this dispossession of land and buildings, churches, monasteries, and to have Ventura and Kings Canyon taken from us. Not that we owned the street, not that we owned those names, but the connection to us was very strong and very real. And to have it taken from us was just another feeling of that dispossession that we've experienced so many times.
That we're used to?
Not that, well,
sadly.
We're not used to it. We still fight it, right. But it happens too often.
That's what I'm saying. It's sadly that's no surprise.
And that's why this time of the year, when we think about the genocide, and I've been arguing this for quite a while, to think about it a bit differently. Many people picture the Armenian genocide simply April 24th, 1915, and having an end date of 1917 or 19 or 21, whatever year they happen to read an article on. But in reality, it's more than that. It started really in the 1890s with the Hamidian massacres. Between the early 1890s until the genocide, about 250,000 people, Armenians, were murdered. And by the time the genocide happened, the final solution to the Armenian question, it was accepted in Turkish society that Armenians are going to get killed. And so when the genocide happened, it was an easier sell on the people. Not only did they know about it and not protest, they took part in it. They knew when Armenians were being deported through their towns, and they took advantage of that. So a bit off track, but the point is that it started well into the 1890s. It happened, really the final solution was in 1915, and it never ended. Now, the Armenian genocide, when Armenian Republic came into being in 1918, the Turkish government then said their goal was to eliminate Armenia politically and physically. They'd made great strides toward that. Luckily, the Soviet Union, perhaps luckily, came along and put everything on hold. fast forward to the late 80s, in 1991, when Armenia became independent again, it was back on the forefront. Keeping in mind also that when people picture the Armenian genocide, perhaps on a map, what they tend to look at is they see Turkey as it exists today, Eastern Turkey, where it happened. Van, Bitlis, Mush, Erzurum, Kars, Trabzon, all those historic Armenian cities. But it wasn't just in Turkey. It carried on through Armenia itself. It carried on through the Caucasus into Artsakh, into Shushi, all the way to the Caspian Sea. And so when Prime Minister Erdogan, the Turkish strongman, says that they're going to finish the job their grandparents started in the Caucasus, that's not just small talk. That's a threat. It's a promise to continue what they've been doing. It never ended, and it still goes on. And you see what happened to Artsakh, historic Armenian province, in 2023, when it finally was depopulated after 2 millennia of Armenians gone. And now you have, and that happened through Azerbaijan, Turkey's satellite state. As Erdogan has said, Turkey and Azerbaijan are two nations, two countries, one nation. They're the same people. And so Erdogan has sort of farmed this out to oil-rich Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is one of the worst places on the planet. If you look at any metric on freedom of press, freedom of religion, minority rights, women's rights, right to assembly, right to free trials, it is on the bottom of every single list. And in fact,
wow.
I had an article. This kills me. I had an article about 1.5 years ago where, for free and fair elections, North Korea ranked higher than Azerbaijan. Yet we trip over ourselves to support them. Azerbaijan these days refers to Armenia as Western Azerbaijan. And so you got Erdogan on one end saying, we're going to finish what we started. And you got Aliyev on the other side of Armenia saying, well, what's in Armenia is already ours anyway. And so people need to understand that it never ended and that they need to be cautious about what's going on. This Trump peace plan they put together, the TRIP, Trump Road for International Peace and Prosperity, connecting Azerbaijan with its exclave of Nakhichevan. That's dangerous because it allows Azerbaijan free flow across Armenia. It's not like the borders have just been opened. The State Department documents say they're connecting the two, which means the road that goes from Azerbaijan across Armenia to Nakhichevan, it connects the two, which means that that road is now Azeri property, so to speak. You know, if I was to drive from northern Washington state to Alaska, I could do it, but I'm driving on someone else's roads. I'm driving on Canadian roads, whereas Azerbaijan crossing Armenia is on its own road. So now, and part of the plan overall is to eventually eliminate all the Armenians. That's the plan of pan-Turkism. It's been the plan for many, many years to connect all the Turkic states from Central Asia all the way to the Bosphorus. And there's a 20-mile stretch of land that's Armenian on the southern part that is holding them back. And they want the Armenians gone. And so they're doing what they can, and this doesn't help, I don't think. If they want to have trade and such, just open the borders. It's not that difficult.
Yesterday, I just actually heard a crazy story. One of our governors, one of the guys running for governor for this term, went to this Turkish owner's place in New York, and that was supposed to invest into his campaign. And they said that they would be willing to invest a lot of money if he said the Armenian genocide did not exist. And then he's like, no, that's not the last. So he said no, he turned it down. But that's actually, I mean, the fact that they're still infiltrating to that level is absolutely crazy. It
is. Well, so often people will say to the Armenians, look, this genocide happened 100 years ago. It's ancient history. It happened. We all know it. Move on. Well, we can't do that because clearly the Turks have not moved on from their plans. They started this. They're not done yet. So us putting our guard down, Armenians putting their guard down, people who support Armenia and Armenian genocide justice putting their guards down simply allows the Turks an even easier role. We have genocide denial today, obviously. Turkey, of course, is doing that. But the problem is that even at our highest levels of government, we still have government officials who know clearly what the truth is. It's not a secret that the Armenian genocide happened. Everybody knows it. but no one wants to take responsibility, the Turks. And so we still have leaders of this country even. Joe Biden recognized the Armenian genocide. He then sold the Armenians down the river during the Artsakh conflict, didn't do much favor. And then now Donald Trump, who frankly I support on many things, he sent his vice president, J.D. Vance, to Armenia and Azerbaijan and Georgia about a month ago to help with the peace program, or at least Armenia and Azerbaijan. And when J.D. Vance was in Armenia, he visited the Genocide Museum, and he posted on, I guess, Twitter, X, whatever it happens to be, that he visited the Armenian Genocide Museum. Well, no sooner had it gone up did it come down. And the theory is that obviously you can watch people's posts. It's not a secret. They're not hidden. But the Turks were monitoring it. And as soon as he said genocide, they reached out to Tom Barak, who is the U.S. ambassador to Turkey. He got on the phone with the State Department people, who got on the phone with the White House and said, you can't talk like that. And so he said it. He's a Christian man. He's an educated and intelligent man. And when you do something like this, it really looks tacky, to say the least. Donald Trump is who he is. He's probably not going to say anything different these days. But you have J.D. Vance, who might be running for president in 2 years or so.
Right.
He might want to start courting not Turkish denialists, but maybe Armenians. And he might want to eventually come clean on this. That's, I think, a plan going forward. I've talked to certain people in Washington, the various lobby groups and such, and they are not opposed to that angle. Getting Donald Trump to say Armenian genocide is probably not going to happen. But you don't give up. You keep fighting, because they're not giving up. So that's what we do.
This is going to be ongoing.
It is ongoing. Well, it gives me a reason to see you and come on your show and talk about it. But frankly, I'd rather it be...
The conversation could change, though. That's what we're hoping for.
Well, one of these days I'm going to come on your show and I'm going to say, can you believe it, Sparkle, that the Turkey is finally saying genocide, and they're trying to make good. They're trying to do restitution and reparations. They're adjusting the borders. They're going to give Armenia back just to the other side of Mount Ararat. Wouldn't that be nice? But instead, we have to look at J.D. Vance going to the Armenian Genocide Monument Memorial in Armenia and saying what he said and then backtracking. And it's really, it makes for bad optics. That had a lot of press, actually, which is good. All the major news carriers, news reporting agencies were carrying this multiple times. So they caught on to that. They knew it. And when you read the press these days, and it's been this way for quite a few years, thank goodness, the press knows what's going on as well. They don't talk about the alleged genocide. They don't talk about Armenians' claim at genocide. Everybody knows it. Let's just move on with this and make peace, because it's doable if you get your head out of your whatever hole it happens to be in, get your head out of the clouds, get your ego and attitude down, and come clean. Azerbaijan has plenty of money. Turkey's not going anywhere. Do the right thing, and one of these days that'll happen. I think what's interesting as well is that in Turkey, upwards of 40% of Turks can trace their DNA lineage to Armenians or Greeks or Assyrians.
I imagine.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny to watch people go on, they do a video of themselves checking their DNA, thinking they're 100% Turk, they're proud and this and that, and go, oh my God, I'm Armenian. Oh, what a disaster. But more and more people are learning about this, and it's kind of funny to watch how it's getting more into society. It's more of an open society. But people are learning, and it's the truth eventually comes out, but you just can't give up on it. So that's for sure.
Are there any leaders that are kind of pushing for it that you know of? Since you said you do have conversations in Washington and all of that. Mm-hmm. Who's actually pushing for this?
You mean for genocide recognition and such? Well, there's 150 members of Congress that are in the Congressional Armenian Caucus that are active. Tom McClintock was in town about a month ago yesterday, and a group of us met with him. And he comes to town maybe once a year or so and meets with us and wants to get our understanding. And I ask him some hard questions, and he's learning as he goes along. And in fact, some of my articles recently have been a bit critical of him, constructively critical. I support his conservative mindset and the way he gets things done.
That's what I like about you. You're constructively critical, which is what we need.
Well, yes.
Everyone needs an honest voice.
And I pointed out, I said, like any professional, I think you need some continuing education. And so after the meeting, I spent about a half hour on the phone with one of his staffers who I met with before, and said, here's the situation in Armenia. Here's what we're looking for. We want to make sure that someone is speaking truthfully on this. When he has a microphone and he's on, local radio, for example, talking about what's going on in Washington, he can mention the Armenian issue, the Armenian, the fragility of the peace progress, the fragility of the Armenian nation as a whole, because it's surrounded by Turkey and Azerbaijan, he can bring this to the forefront rather than talking about the same things that everybody always talks about. Make the effort. But I had a nice conversation with one of his staffers and said, you got to step it up a bit, step up your game. We're all watching what's going on. Don't think that this is just these issues for us are just an April 24th issue. We live with these issues of death and destruction and loss and displacement and dispossession every day. It's part of our existence. This lapel pin that I wear, they're on all my suits. I got one on each one of them. It's part of who I am as an advocate for Armenian genocide justice. I'm a grandson of Armenian genocide survivors. My grandfather spent time in Turkish prison as a teenager during the genocide. I probably shouldn't be here,
right.
but I am. And so I'm doing what I have to do as a good Armenian and a good American citizen, being involved in issues to get this issue out there. So I always appreciate the opportunity. You always have good questions and good comments, so I'm happy to keep the conversation going. But you tell me.
Where are you going to be this April 24th?
Actually, we're going to be out of town. I'm usually always at the event, whether it's the flag raising at City Hall or the event at Fresno State at the Armenian Genocide Monument. What I like also is the Armenian Genocide Commemorative Committee is taking new steps to reach out to the community. I've been a bit constructively critical of them as well. They're all volunteers. They do a great job, but doing the same thing over and over again at that venue is, I don't think, helpful. It's the only monument of its kind on any U.S. college campus. It's in the center of everything, and a lot of people go to this. Why aren't we inviting the mayor or past mayors of Fresno? Why aren't we inviting other dignitaries to be there? Certainly the local crowd can be here. The mayor, past mayors who have served this community, served the Armenian people of this community, they should be there. This should be an open event. It should not be just Armenians gathering around and listening to the same things every year. And so the Armenian Genocide Commemorative Committee is doing a better job. And these events are open to the public. It's not just an Armenian event. So the flag raisings at City Hall on the 24th at, I believe, noon. There will be speeches and dignitaries there as well. The afternoon evening event is at Fresno State. That starts usually around 5:36. That's always a nice event. The speakers are wonderful. The weather is always nice. I believe the free speech area at Fresno State also has some things going on with the Armenian Students Organization. So there are things going on. It's interesting when I mention these issues, people say, you know, I heard about these, or I know people, or I have a friend who's Armenian, and a lot of people really know about this, and that comes from being an advocate. That's all you can do. And
where can we read all of these writings? You're always writing about something. That's why I love to find out about.
If you were to Google my name, for example, and type in Fresno Bee or San Joaquin Valley Sun or GV Wire, those articles come up. I've had probably over 50, I suppose, over the years, opinion pieces. I don't know any other way. I'm not that tech savvy. But they're there.
And you will let us know on your Facebook. And are you on Instagram?
I am not.
Okay.
But I do post my articles on.
We can follow you on Facebook and find the articles.
Absolutely.
That's what I like. Yeah.
I do.
Then
post
we can know when it's coming up and relevant. That's how I think I keep up.
Yeah, and I also repost articles by people in the Time Magazine, Newsweek, other articles that come up that are very truthful and well written on a very high professional level. I forward those on as well.
Awesome. So we can all follow your Facebook. What's your Facebook?
Just my name, Marshall Moushigian. Is that right? I don't know. I'm not tech savvy.
No, that's your Facebook. I was just letting, because our viewers don't know. I follow you on Facebook already, so I know your Facebook.
Yeah, Marshall Moushigian. And
so, yes, and then if we ever want you to speak at anything, because you're very accessible, I think people don't know that you can come and speak to smaller groups if they want you to.
I've done that before, yeah. I'm happy to give my 2 cents. I think I appreciate the fact that people appreciate my opinion and my insight, and I'm happy to share it for the betterment of the Armenian cause. And when you do something that's that important for the Armenian cause, bringing truth and justice for a genocide, I think you're helping society as a whole.
For sure. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad to have you guys on the show today. It's the first time.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
And I've heard you play before. I know you're newer to the band. So what do you guys typically do?
Well, back in the day when you saw us, it was an acoustic duo. My friend Jeff and I, the goal was to do originals and cover songs of like indie rock songs that people could really sing along to. And so we've kind of continued that out. Blaine recently joined the band and is
I
playing.
love that you mix both covers and originals. I think that's great because it gets people like I remember it sounded so great. I didn't even couldn't believe it was only two people playing when I heard you guys.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. Yeah, we were happy to see you there. I was surprised to see you there. And when we did, we were like, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun learning some new originals, learning some covers I wouldn't normally play. Great group of guys, lots of fun to play with.
We got Blaine and I knew that he was a musician because he's in a hardcore band called Sabertooth Zombie, and they've toured and they've played for years. And so when we were looking for someone to add, he was, a natural step. And I was just really grateful that he wanted to do it with us.
And it's fun to have someone who wants me to play with him. So
Yeah.
It's been a blast.
I just don't know how you guys find the time. You guys have real career jobs. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so Blaine and I both work at the Public Defender's Office here in Fresno, and I think we're very proud of the work we do.
Absolutely.
He and I work on the major crimes team, so we represent people who are facing some of the most serious offenses, and I think we would describe ourselves as trial lawyers.
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
litigators, and the job is something that, as you said, it's really busy. It's busy, but it's also emotionally taxing. And then for me, at least, music is an outlet. It's the way I keep my sanity. It's this is my therapist right here. I can talk to it all day, every day, whenever I need. Whenever I'm struggling with something, I just pick it up and play and sort of fade out.
That's awesome. It's like lawyers that play. What about the other guy in the band?
So there's two other members. They weren't able to make it with us today, but Jeff Goes, who is our amazing he's our lead guitarist, and Jeff is in the auto industry, and then our friend Dalen Nemiroff, who plays drums with us, and Dalen works with CHP. So I don't know too much more about their jobs. Otherwise,
So I really get together. We're we're gonna let that stuff over, and this is how we get wine.
100%.
This is what unites us. So what are you gonna play for us today?
I'm going to play a song that I wrote a couple years back for my 40th birthday, and it was sort of like a song almost to myself, just kind of like a reminder to...
That we're old? A reminder?
No, I don't. I think more of a reminder to not be old, to sort of just enjoy life as it comes. And,
I like that.
Keep your imagination at the forefront and stay young, actually. So...
Let's hear it. I can't wait.
All right, so here we go. A home, different places we've grown. There's familiar faces from when we were young. And time takes its toll, sifting hand through aging fingers, a childlike soul. Just let it out. You can stand, the ground's not firm, but tell me whatever is, maybe you'll fly, or you'll land. Let your imagination take your hand, and let it out. If you can, just let it out. My dear, green like your shirt, hills of flowers serene. Expansive spaces now between then you and me. Just take it one day at a time. The tick, the talk, we don't pay no mind. We're born each day, so start new and find the happy-go-lucky in you. And let it out if you can. Just let it out. And our homes are different ways to be sown, and each passing stitch is a tapestry to be worn. And time, well, time marches on, and each wash cycle fades the fabric, but the color remains. So just let it out. You can stand, the ground's not firm, but tell me whatever is. Maybe you'll fly, or you'll land. Let your imagination take your hand and let it out. If you can, just let it out.
Yay! I
Thank
love
you.
it. That's
Thank
a good
you.
song. Wow. So where can we hear that? Is it on SoundCloud?
I haven't recorded that one yet, so this might actually be the
You
very
guys
first
just have to watch
time.
this over and over again if you
Thank
like that. I
you.
loved it a lot.
Thank
Oh my
you.
goodness.
Yeah, I enjoyed writing that one. It was meaningful for me.
That is a
so.
really good song. Wow. I can't wait to hear all of the stuff that you guys play. So, okay, so you're playing at Porch Fest.
Yes.
So how does that work?
We're gonna play Porch Fest generally, or like our set.
Well, like, aren't you in a certain location? Is it all day? Like, what time does it start?
Okay, I think Porch Fest is like all day, and
Right.
I think they've been going on for 6 years now. It's a pretty awesome event. I mean, just, you know, all day long, all throughout the tower. There's going to be, I think, hundreds of bands playing, and we're going to be one of those bands. So our set is 1:15
Okay.
to 2:15 at 719 East Dudley. And it's a lovely house that we're playing out, hosted by a lovely woman named Brenna. And we played there last year, actually. And so we're excited to get to go and play again.
That is so cool. And then where are you guys playing out beyond that? I mean, I saw you at the Helen Wolf, and I know you guys just kind of, whenever you book a gig or a spot.
Yeah, TBD. So we're in the rebuild.
So who do I follow to find out when you guys have a show coming up?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram, but I'm gonna put together the band's page. Our band is named after a lovely dog named Bronco. So the band's name is Good Boy Bronco, and so we'll have an Instagram up pretty soon for that.
But in the meantime, they can follow you. You're like, oh, great, everyone's just gonna follow me. But I mean, you know.
Well, it's private, so I can choose who I. No, just kidding. Yeah.
What's your private Instagram? We can follow it out.
Nostralopithecus. I'm embarrassed to say it.
And need like cue cards down below.
We might need to edit that one
And you
out.
don't have
yeah.
any. You don't have an Instagram.
No,
we can,
I've never done that.
really.
Never.
Even
Blaine
when
is smart.
and you're like prime of your
Our
band.
band doesn't do that either, no.
How do people know where to like find?
They find a way. It's punk rock, you know. It's a little different scene.
Because it's mainly like I just like to know, hey, where's the next show? Where can I go? You know.
Yeah, keep your ear to the road, so to speak, for that kind of stuff. But
you guys did a show back east last year, didn't you?
Yeah, we played a little tour back east. We're actually playing in San Francisco May 9th, I believe. Coming up. Somewhere in the Mission. I don't remember where, but if you like really loud punk rock, come see that.
How exciting.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. So.
But I know you've got some stuff cooking at Goldstein's. Maybe we'll play there soon.
Okay.
Yeah, so nothing that I can announce yet, but we should have something for Goldstein's, and then we're going to just keep figuring out other shows. We, as I was mentioning, it was the duo at first, but now that we're the full band, we're kind of piecing together. We want to piece together a set to really put together at these places,
so that we can book you for a private party if you guys were ever all available at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, if you grew up in the 90s or the 2000s and you like that music, I think we'll have something for you.
Right
Definitely.
on. Yeah, and then we can follow the private Instagram because we can try to book. You never know. The people want us to book all the time. They'll be like, when they're, so people come to me and ask me for stuff like that. So
Just put your home number out there for everyone to
Yeah, my email address, my social security.
Your guys' job is to be like, oh, wow. No, but it's great that you guys come together and play. I love it. What's one of your favorite covers that you like to do?
Oh. Well, do you have one?
I like doing the Green Day song a lot, She, because it's kind of in the style of music I'm used to playing. But playing with these guys, everybody's really talented. Jeff and Naser can really sing and play at the same time, so we can do a tremendous amount of variety of music. These guys are really talented.
I also like doing the She one. We were kind of adding a little more here and there. We'll cover bands like, Weezer, Modest Mouse, different indie rock bands. I really think it's almost, my goal is that when I look out on the audience and I'm playing, that I don't actually have to hear myself singing because everybody else is singing the songs. Like that would be, for me, ideal.
No, I totally feel you on that. And it's like great when that's the vibe, when everyone's like, when everyone's singing, everyone's having a good time.
100%.
So the response to you guys is good, even though you don't have an Instagram. I can't believe this. You've been playing for so long.
I had one. So the old setup is now defunct, and so it's like imagine like a rebuild year. The team is rebuilding. It's going to come back better than ever, and so I'll have that up soon.
And then, so you're still with the other band as well, so you're playing between both bands?
That band's not in the Fresno area, so we play sporadically. But this is it's fun being in a band. So if I get a chance to be in a band, I'm going to do it. And like I said, these guys are good dudes, fun to play with, and talented. So
I think Blaine is like pound for pound the best musician in the band.
that's not true.
And so again, we're really lucky to have him playing with us.
I think he's too modest.
I think he's very modest. He's very modest. He's an amazing attorney. He's an amazing hard worker. He's just a good guy. Everybody that I know that knows Blaine has so much respect for him. And so when I say I'm really grateful that he's in the band, it's not just saying it. It's like what I really feel. And also, he's the best musician in the band.
Just one guy doing my job.
Yeah.
Since you've added it to like a full band, where was the input that you got from everybody? Were they like, oh, let's keep this, or let's expand into this, or let's play more of this? Was it more of a collaborative effort like that?
Yeah, I think, everybody has like Dalen, the drummer, was a really big Blink-182 fan. And so I think he's happy too that Blaine's in the band because Blaine likes to play fast. And so I'm used to playing a little more slow. When I write songs, they end up being a little more folky or whatever. But I think it's kind of cool. We're getting a little more like energy in the music. And so that input's good. And then Jeff is so creative, and he can come up with like really great riffs, or just can, I don't know. His brain works different. He's just one of the more creative guys that I know. And so his input is, it kind of always ties everything together.
And who is Bronco? So he's a dog named Bronco. So what's the story on that?
I plug for Animal Compassion Team, if that's okay. On December 31st of 2012, myself and an ex-girlfriend adopted Bronco from Animal Compassion Team when he was just a little guy. And so now he's getting up there, but he's still pretty sprightly. When he
What
goes
kind of dog is he?
He's like an alley dog. Like, I'd say if you mixed like a shepherd and a pit bull and a chihuahua and like 50 other things together, like, that's Bronco.
He's brown.
Yeah. He's like, imagine a dog running around the streets of Fresno without a collar. That's Bronco. Like,
Freestyle dog.
yeah.
That is awesome.
He's a good boy.
Does he show up is he going to show up on Porch Fest? Can you get a mascot? Like,
you'll see his essence there. He is literally our mascot. So we have little pins that we'll have. If anybody wants to get a little button, and it's got Bronco's face on it.
I would love that.
Yeah,
How awesome.
I should have brought one for you.
Oh my gosh, we have to go to Porch Fest.
Bubble the bag on that one.
There you go. Yes,
Yeah, come
exactly.
Porch
You have to
Fest.
come to get it.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on my show. I can't wait to have you guys on again, hopefully one day with the whole band, but that would be really great.
Thank you so much for having us,
thanks for having
Sparkle.
This was fun.
Come to Porch Fest.
Porch Fest.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.